Hello, and welcome to the first in a series of videos to help you answer the questions in the Care Certificate workbooks. My name is Daniel Dutton and I run the website dsdweb.co.uk, which provides free help, guidance and support for people that are studying for care qualifications. In this video, we will be looking at Standard 1, Understand Your Role. This standard explores what it means to be a health and social care worker, the responsibilities of yourself and your employer, and how to work in a professional way. But before we go on, please, could you click the like and subscribe buttons below this video? By doing this, I will know that my videos are useful and it will spur me on to create more. The first question in the workbook asks, using your job description to help you, fill in the box below to describe your main duties and responsibilities. Now, the answer to this question will be unique to your particular employer and job role. So grab a copy of your job description and jot down some of your responsibilities. If you don't have a copy of your job description, ask for one from your employer. Some job descriptions can be quite long, so don't worry about including every little thing, just condense it down into the main points. Some examples are shown in the screen, such as administering meds and maintaining confidentiality. The next question asks, look up the Care Certificate and Code of Conduct for Healthcare Support Workers and Adult Social Care Workers in England. Complete the diagram below to list some examples of the standards they include. You should already know what the Care Certificate is because your employer has asked you to complete the workbooks. It is a qualification for anyone new to care, and they're expected to undertake it as part of their induction to ensure that they understand best practice and have the skills to do their job properly. It is split into 15 standards, which are this one. Number 1, understand your role, your personal development, duty of care, equality and diversity, person-centered values, communication, privacy and dignity, fluids and nutrition, dementia, mental illness and learning disabilities, safeguarding adults, safeguarding children, basic life support, health and safety, handling information, infection prevention and control. The Code of Conduct for Healthcare Support Workers and Adult Social Care Workers can be found on the Skills for Care and Skills for Health websites. It outlines expected behaviours and attitudes of care workers. For example, be accountable by making sure you can answer for your actions or omissions, and promote and uphold the privacy, dignity, rights, health and well-being of people who use health and care services and their carers at all times. Again, with this question, you don't need to include every single bit of information, just pick out a few examples. In my opinion, this particular question is worded terribly and it can cause a lot of confusion. It asks, being self-aware is important for care workers. Think about your previous experiences and the attitudes and beliefs you have, and under the points below, explain how they may have affected the way you work. And then it has 4 headings of positive experience, negative experience, your positive attitude, and your personal beliefs. In essence, what you need to do is think of a personal example related to each of the headings and describe how they make an impact or have made an impact on your working practice. There's some examples on the screen to give you some ideas. The next question asks you to familiarise yourself with your employment rights and responsibilities. Under each of the headings below, describe your rights and responsibilities as a worker. The first heading is health and safety, and it is important that you understand that as an employee, you have a responsibility to protect yourself, co-workers and others from avoidable harm. You can do this by behaving professionally, following your employer's agreed ways of working and reporting to your manager any potential risks to health, safety and well-being that you notice in your day-to-day duties. The next heading is confidentiality. As a care worker, you will be privy to lots of personal information about the clients that you support, things that they may not want others to know about, such as medical conditions or sexuality. So you have a duty to ensure that you only share it with others on a need-to-know basis. This means keeping records secure, making sure you cannot be overheard during discussions, and avoiding gossip. Next is working time. You should know what your contracted hours are, but you should also have an awareness of your legal rights. For example, your employer cannot force you to work more than 48 hours per week unless you opt out of the Working Time Directive. Neither can your employer force you to opt out or treat you unfavourably if you don't. More information on working time can be found on www.gov.uk. The final heading is pay and wages. You may be paid by the hour or have an annual salary, and your wages should be paid to you regularly, usually monthly. You should be paid at least the national living wage, which is currently £8.21 per hour for over 25s. Actually, that should be over 24s or 25s and over. In this question, you are asked, speak to your employer to find out the aims, objectives and values of the organisation that you work in and use the information to fill in the table below. Again, this is something that's going to be specific to your organisation. So if you don't already know the answers to it, then you will have to ask your manager or perhaps look at your organisation's website. Your organisation's aims are long-term goals and their objectives are smaller, more specific and shorter-term goals. And the values are the guiding principles and tenets by which the business is run. You should take a little time to understand your organisation's aims, objectives and values so that you can align yourself with them and work in the way that your employer expects. As well as understanding your employer's guiding principles and goals, it is essential to work in ways that are agreed with your employer. In this question, you must give an example of an agreed way of working in your workplace and explain why it is important. Your employer should have plenty of policies and procedures for you to choose from, for example, procedures dealing with personal care, medication administration, finances, etc., as well as more general policies covering things like equality, complaints and grievances. The important thing to remember is that policies and procedures exist to ensure that everyone works in a safe and caring way within the legal framework and encompass best practice. The next question gives a list of statements and asks whether you would report them as a concern. So first of all, the health and safety of staff is in danger. Yes, you should report that immediately. All risk to health and safety should be reported. Next, individuals are treated with dignity and respect. No, this is good practice and does not need to be reported. The environment is being damaged by work activity. Yes, this one should be reported. Wrongdoing is being covered up. Yep, any kind of wrongdoing should be reported immediately. The individual's care is inadequate, but they cannot or will not complain. Yes, again, this needs to be reported. As a care worker, you've got a duty of care to uphold the rights of the individuals that you care for. Next, we've got care plans are reassessed and updated regularly. No, this is good practice. This does not need to be reported. And finally, your manager is involved in the abuse of individuals. Yes, you should report this straight away. All abuse, even suspicions of abuse, should be reported immediately. Following on from the previous question, you are now asked to think about the statements that would need to be reported and explain how you would raise your concerns or whistleblow and why. So with the first one, if there is any risk to the health and safety of staff, or anyone else for that matter, you must report it to your manager immediately. Next, if the environment is being damaged by work activities, then you should also report this to your manager, and depending on the situation or severity, you may also be obliged to report it to your local authority. Next, wrongdoing being covered up should always be reported to your manager, and depending on the situation, you may also need to whistleblow to the Care Quality Commission, CQC, or the Health and Safety Executive, HSE. If an individual's care is inadequate but they cannot or will not complain, it is important that you speak up for them and report your concerns to your manager. Depending on the severity of the situation, you may also be required to whistleblow to CQC. Finally, if your manager is involved in the abuse of individuals, then you must report this to senior management and whistleblow to CQC and also your local authority's safeguarding team. You may also need to report this to the police. The next question asks you to think about your responsibilities to the individuals you support and describe 4 of your responsibilities to those individuals. There's plenty of choice with this question. As mentioned previously, it is important to speak up for individuals that are unable to speak up for themselves, and we have a duty of care to safeguard individuals from abuse. We should also work in a person-centred way, which involves promoting choice, independence and active participation, as well as respecting the views of others, even if they differ from our own. And there are also more specific responsibilities, such as administering medication, providing personal care and managing finances. It is essential that care workers understand the difference between a working relationship and a personal relationship. This question asks to explain the differences and provide examples. So working relationships are the formal relationships we have with our colleagues, managers, clients, and other industry professionals. They're governed by professional boundaries, rules and regulations such as your employer's policies and procedures, and the relationships are limited to the places where you work and the times that you work. In contrast, personal relationships are informal relationships that we have with our friends and family. They are mutual and can be intimate and involve kissing and hugging. The only boundaries are those that are imposed by the participants. Staying with the subject of working relationships, the next question asks you to describe the 4 main working relationships in health and social care. Firstly, there is a relationship between yourself and your colleagues, followed by the relationship that you have with your manager or managers. Next is the relationship that you have with the individuals that you support, and this can include their family and friends. And finally, there's the relationship you have with other healthcare professionals, which can include, for example, advocates, nurses, speech and language therapists, etc. The final question in the workbook is related to partnership working. Working in partnership involves having strong communication and negotiation skills, and working as a team to achieve the best possible outcomes for the individuals that you support. Working this way with your co-workers means that you can provide a consistent service to the individuals that you support, and you can learn from one another. You will also work in partnership with individuals that you support, their family, friends, and possibly their advocate. This can help you gain valuable insights into how best to support an individual. This is because the individual themselves and those people that have known them for a long time will have expert knowledge on their unique needs, wishes, and preferences. And that's it. All the questions for Standard 1 of the Care Certificate have been answered. If you require any additional help or want to send feedback about this video, please feel free to use the comment section below or visit my website dsdweb.co.uk. And if you haven't already done so, please click the like and subscribe buttons below. By doing so, you'll be the first to know about any new videos that I make, and it'll also put a big smile on my face. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.